this episode of Operation Mustangs and More, I'm going to show you how to align doors on an old Mustang. You know what? That can translate into a Camaro, a Firebird, a Cuda, doesn't matter. The same process happens on pretty much all automobiles. We're going to talk about VIN numbers, what those are all about. You know, there's things inside the VIN number that you might not know that'll help the value of your car. And it's finally convertible season, man. The tops are going to be rolling down. Well, maybe not yours. And I'll show you why, because there's a whole hydraulic system there that might need some maintenance this year, and you're going to learn how to fix it. So stay tuned to the show.
The crowded streets and the neon lights sometimes drive me crazy. So far from home and a bit to be tied, 'cause I'm trying to reach you on another line. A stupid lyric from a cover of song's been rolling through my head all afternoon long. It's driving me crazy.
Well, every week I try and test drive a car, and this week we're in a 70 Mach 1 that I modified. You know, it's kind of a resto mod. It's got really built 351 Cleveland that we put together a few years ago. This thing's got, I don't know, probably 400 horsepower. I put together a really nice C4 for it. Some people might be thinking, what, a C4? Well, you know, C4s can be put together pretty bulletproof. The problem with putting together the C6s is that they're heavy transmissions. And the FMX, forget about the FMX. It's a cast iron transmission. It's not really a performance thing. It's meant for like Torino station wagons and stuff. But the C6 and the C4 are the way to go. Well, I decided to put together a C4 because of its lightweight. Got like a 3,000 stall in this thing. And nice little shift kit. The other thing we did with this car, we geared it. So it's got like a 373 gear in it. But it's also got rack and pinion steering. So this thing is so dynamite to steer down the road. I mean, you know, it's just going straight down the road like you would not believe. And it, you know, it handles like it's on rails. You know, that is one thing that's a good thing too. Sometimes it's not too overkill, but it really handles nice on this car. The inside of the car, we got a nice cross between originality and, guy's almost hitting me. People are driving over here. Got a nice cross between originality and resto mod, meaning that it's pretty much stock on the inside of the car. The gauges, he wanted a little bit of a different gauge thing, so we did like a silver tone around the gauges. But other than that, he's even got a stock AM radio in this thing. Got the Rotunda style hood tachometer on it, which those things look so cool when they're sitting out there. Car passes by with the hood tack, is really cool looking. But they're not real accurate, man. If you're going to go out there and you're going to get a Rotunda or one of these style tachometers, don't buy it for its accuracy, buy it for its look. And that's the way a lot of the parts are that are out there for these classic cars. They look the part, but they don't necessarily play the part. And this is a good example of one of those things that looks the part, but doesn't play the part. And I'm enjoying this. Shaker hood scoop. Got the grabber orange color. I mean, this is about as best as they get. 70 Mach, back to 500 wheels. But we're on my usual test track road here. We'll get to a little spot where we can light them up a little bit. We just broke it out for springtime here. So I'm dialing a few things in. You know, you let a car sit and things change. You gotta reset timing, you gotta reset carburetors, you gotta do all sorts of stuff. And no exception here. But I'm not gonna beat the heck out of it. We're just gonna lay into it a little bit. Well, I guess I laid into it a little bit. But see, that's just the light weight of that transmission helping that out. For every 100 pounds that you can save off an automobile adds to 1/10 of a mile shave off your quarter-mile times. Keep that in mind. That's why guys take windows out of their cars and empty their doors. The less weight, the faster the car will go. Same thing with the trans. You run a C4 trans, you can probably take 1/10 off your quarter-mile time as opposed to running a C6 or even an FMX. But yeah, this thing lights them up pretty good. We got to do a little turnaround over here, so I might have to do that again. But you know what? That tells me that I got this thing lit up pretty good. It's dialed in pretty good. Oh yeah. Yeah, man, I guess we did a pretty good job on this one. Feels good. Feels real good. And it's got the Cleveland 351 in it. You know, the 351 Windsors, good motors. I got no complaints with them. And the 351 Clevelands, great motors too. They're a little bit archaic. They're like dinosaurs, but you get a good 351 Cleveland running, man. That'd blow away a 351 Windsor. And they look so cool too. They're big motors. They got like these big old valve covers on them. They're great. No, I like this car. We're having a lot of fun with this. Well, let's head back to the shop and see what else we got. We've been working on this 69 Super Cobra Jet cars. These Super Cobra Jet cars are pretty rare. It's got a special option on it that makes it a Super Cobra Jet called a drag pack, which allows it to have a special rear end, a special cooling system for the oil on the engine. It's got Le Mans rods. But what we're doing is we're doing some detail work underneath it. And what we've done is we've primed the floors with this red oxide primer, which is correct. The wheel wells have like a two-tone of the black in there. Even the side over here, if you look over here on the floors, it has the overspray that we've duplicated of the color of the car. You know, to me, some things that are correct don't necessarily look correct, and that's one of the things right there. In a perfect world, you wouldn't want to have the sloppiness of overspray on your floor pans, but in the perfect world of trying to make a car correct, that's what that's all about. But one of the things that you can learn a lot of this stuff about is if you join a club. You know, I'm all for clubs themselves. And there's a local club called Stallions Gate. Stallions Gate has been around in this area here in Illinois for 20 years or so. And some great folks that are a member of that club. If you go to the website, stallionsgate.org, you'll be able to see everything that they're all about. Their club events, their past club photos, their members' photos. They got a lot of members in this club. It's a real good club to follow. So go to their website, stallionsgate.org, check them out, join a club, so you can find some more information like this on your own car. You know, every morning, like a doctor, I have my own checklist of things for all these Mustangs and these classic cars around here that we're working on. And I go down my list one by one, see what each car needs. And now that the convertible top season has come along, where people are looking to drop their tops, I'm running into a lot of issues there. One of the most common issues with the convertibles is that the fluid goes low on the hydraulic system itself. What you got here behind the scenes on a convertible top is this whole hydraulic system. You got a pump, you got these lines that the fluid actually travels through. On each end over here, you got a ram. So when these rams fill up with the fluid that the hydraulic pump is pumping to them, that's when the top goes up. And then when you reverse the switch, it sucks the fluid back down and pulls the top back down into place. All fine and dandy till something goes wrong with it, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're left here with either your top up or your top down. And nobody likes that, especially on a sunny day. And it seems like when you go to break the car out in springtime, that's when all of a sudden you hit the switch, it goes, and it ain't going anywhere. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pull out the back seat. You're going to expose this pump right here. And when you manually work it, what you're going to end up seeing in these lines, when you manually work it, is little air bubbles will travel in these lines right here. And that's because air has gotten into the system. For whatever reason, the fluid has gotten low. Most of the time it's these rams over here that seem to leak, and what you'll find is puddles of fluid over here. If that's the case, then you're going to want to replace one of your rams to correct on where the fluid is going. But let's just say you need to top it off. On the left side of the pump itself, you'll find a plug. Some of them are rubber, some of them are like this little screw arrangement here that I'm unscrewing. And you'll take that out, place it to the side. Do not lose that thing, because that's kind of a difficult thing to find. And what you'll do is you'll take a oil can, kind of something like this. Now the Fords take a Type F transmission fluid. That's what they fill it in with. And you'll squeeze it in there until it starts dribbling out the opening. You don't want it any higher than the bottom of the hole that you've exposed by taking that plug out of there. So you'll fill it in there until it starts dribbling out just a tad. Maybe throw a rag up on their bottom over here, so this way if anything dribbles down, it doesn't run down the side of the car and end up on the floor on the road. And then as you do that, it fills it up. Now it fills it up very slowly. So you're going to want to cycle it, meaning you're going to want to put the top up, cycle the top up to actually let the fluid get sucked in there, and then cycle it back down, because it sucks one way and pumps the other and then reverses that process, and that's how it gets its action of going up and down. And it might take probably 10, maybe 20 times of cycling that thing. You'll hear air bubbles kind of percolating out of there because it's escaping and the air is able to come out. But then eventually when it runs clean and you see clean fluid running through these lines here, these hydraulic lines, then you'll know that the system is full and that you can cap it. It's very important that you put the cap back on there. It will dribble out, like I say, bubbly type of airy fluid, and that's going to be okay for a while. It's going to do that. That's what you're looking to do, is get the air out. But once you do that, now the system is full. That pump will be able to pump the fluid into the two rams. And then once it does that, then of course the top will go up and down. If you spot any leaks, get it fixed, whether it's from one of those lines or the two hydraulic rams or even the pump itself. Because that little fix of bleeding and adjustment like that will not last long if you have a leak. So keep going on that, check it out, and then give me a call or Facebook me or give me a message somehow. If you got any other issues, I'll try and help you out. You know, every episode of my show, I try and highlight a different Mustang club around the country. And a couple episodes ago, in 13, 14, I highlighted the Aloha Mustang Club of Hawaii. Great club, great folks out there in Hawaii. What do I get a couple weeks later is this nice little care package. We got all sorts of nuts. I got some chocolates in here. I got some coffees that my wife got right away. And these macadamias, man, I tell you what, I was in Hawaii twice. Once on my honeymoon and once for our 25th anniversary. I'm married to a great lady, real beautiful lady. It's going to be 31 years this year. And I tell you what, when I got this in the mail, I just kind of like closed my eyes, took a macadamia nut, threw it in my mouth, and all I saw was the waves kind of going against the beach. It was beautiful. Thank you very much, Steve and the Aloha Mustang Club. I really appreciate this, and thanks again for sending it to me. You know, the Fox body and late model Mustangs are just too cool. Heck, I got a Fox body I'm running on hydrogen. Well, the guys over at Late Model Restoration, they've been around since 1999. They were doing Fox bodies before it was cool to do Fox bodies. They got parts for the Fox body car, the SN95, the SN97, the Cobra R cars, the Bullet cars. They got it all over there. If you go to their Facebook, they're giving away a $250 gift card every month. And they got a free shipping program that beats them all. So check them out. Go to latemodelrestoration.com. I got a call last week from one of the producers over at Channel 9, local here in Chicago. It's WGN. Now, WGN is one of the most watched television stations here in Chicago and around the world. You can go on their website and check them out. But anyways, they were amazed that a company like mine that restores classic cars could be in business through an economy like we are in. So what they do, they sent a news crew down here. They met me here at like 5:30 in the morning. We set a few things up. I had my son behind our personal camera to videotape what they were doing with their camera. And then, of course, it was on their morning news. They had a whole news around the town show that they did that morning. It was a Wednesday morning. Check it out. It ended up being a lot of fun.
We are at Mustang Restorations in East Dundee. Check out the beauty that's hanging over there. This is how Chris Ingrassia and his crew leave these beautiful old Mustangs when they actually, Chris, arrive straight out of the junkyard. Look at this. This is the before right here.
Yeah, this is pretty much what we get. I mean, these are rusty Midwest cars, and they use salt on the road, so these things are rusty when we get them.
So you look at it and you say, I can do that.
I look at it and say, wow, I can't wait to get my hands into that thing.
What year Mustang do you think
this is? A 65 fastback.
65. And
yeah.
then what happens? This is the next stage, if you will.
Yeah, what we'll end up doing is replacing body panels, welding new body panels on, to eventually get to a state where it looks like that blue one up on the rack there.
Perfect. All right, and when we come back here, people want these cars to work. They want a new engine, and you can do it all in here?
Well, not necessarily a new engine. Okay. They want a lot of originality. They want their engines to be original because that helps to the value of them.
Okay.
So this car right here has its original engine that's been made to look new, and it's been all rebuilt. And there's a lot of correctness going on here because, again, value is driven by what these cars are all about.
What's the average time it would take to get it from the junkyard to looking this beautiful?
Depending upon how rough they are, it could take anywhere 6 months to a year and a half.
And how much money are we talking about?
You could spend anywhere from, say, $5,000, $10,000 to $100,000.
But people love these cars, and they're willing to put in that money.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them have had them since day one, and my father's one of them.
Oh, wait till you see the original Mustang that kicked off this business that has been around for 32 years. If people want to find you, they can go check out your web show, too, right?
Yeah, my web show is on OperationMustang.com.
Excellent. We'll be right back with more Chris Ingrassia, the Mustang Doctor. We'll be right back with more WBM Morning News.
4310 now for around town.
Hey, Anna. Hey, good morning. I'm here with Chris from Mustang Restorations in East Dundee. I call him the Mustang Doctor. Good morning, Chris.
Good.
You have a collection of cars that are not necessarily Mustangs. Case in point, this wonderful Hollywood car. Tell me about this one.
This is one of the ones from the Starsky and Hutch movie. Luckily, it wasn't the one in the movie that landed in the San Francisco Bay.
Okay.
So after it was a stunt car, we restored it so it is a drivable car again, as is all of these cars.
See, you see it on the movie there. That's the one they actually dropped in the water. This one is not, but see,
right.
Beautiful. And then over here you have that horrible movie with Queen Latifah.
This is Queen Latifah's car. And this was in, obviously, the movie Taxi. This is a stunt car. So it's got a lot of Hollywood gadgets on it.
That's pretty cool. I want to look at the Mustang that started it all. You've been in business for 32 years because your dad brought home this beauty.
Yeah, I remember as a boy going to the dealership and being the first one to drive or sit in the seat on the passenger side on the way home.
1968?
1968.
That is beautiful. A couple of people here also learned to drive in one of those. It's really nice. Let's move over here to show people what you do. Over here, your staff is working on engines, on different Mustangs. We got a call here at the shop, people asking what the value of a Mustang after it's been restored.
Well, the value is very high after it's been restored. That's the whole thing behind this. That's the whole thing behind this, is to make the car to a point where somebody can sell it or keep it and have something that's better than stock.
And that they can drive it, too. It can become their regular car.
Well, most people don't make it their regular car, but certainly a good car to...
More a show car.
Yeah, show car.
And what's happening over here? What are these guys doing
This one here, this is an assembly area over here. So these cars are getting assembled, door handles, outside ornaments, engine brackets, interior upholstery.
So from going to no value at all from the junkyard, we're talking it can be worth $100,000 after you're done?
Yeah, I mean, there's places like National Classic Cars out in Huntley that sells these things for over $100,000 or more. The Shelby Mustangs, they've recently just gone through the roof because unfortunately Carroll Shelby passed away. And so those are $1 million.
Million-dollar cars. Unbelievable. Those definitely you won't drive down the highway.
No.
Let me just, where can people find you?
www.mustangrestoration.net.
Pretty cool. Thank you for having us. You'll never sell the 1968 one,
No,
right?
it's a keeper for me and my family.
I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, that's Around Town from East Dundee. Back to you. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks,
You know, one of the things on any car, whether it's an old collector car or a newer car, that's real important on them is the VIN number. The VIN number is a treasure trove of information. Not only for like this collectible GT500 KR Shelby right here, the VIN number is real critical on this. This tells the story of this car, of what it has and what it started out to be. But people don't realize that even on the cars of the entry-level Mustangs, or the entry-level cars, that VIN number means something. You know, I've had quite a few people that have decoded their VINs on, say, just a little coupe and found out that the car maybe came from California, which is a good selling point. The car just happened to, for whatever reason, have this 4-barrel engine in it instead of the regular 2-barrel engine in it. So it's really critical that you look at your VIN number. And the VIN number on most of these cars, at least the older ones, is right up here underneath the hood on the driver's side fender apron. Now, normally on these early ones, the engine code is the 5th digit in. In this case, it's a C, meaning it's a 289 2-barrel. That's not a bad thing. It's a V8 car. The 2nd digit on this car tells what plant it was made in. The 3rd and 4th digit tells what body style it is. And the 1st digit is the year of the car. So that's kind of cool that Ford did those kind of things in there. There's a lot of different companies out there, like Chrysler and GM, that didn't exactly spell it out as good as Ford did. There's not only those numbers, too. There's the numbers on the engines, there's the numbers on the transmissions, there's the numbers on the rear axles. A lot of my suppliers, my sponsors out there, sell these little books. It's a decoder book. It tells you where to look for all these numbers. So make it a point, either when you buy a car or if you're going out to look at an expensive Shelby like this one here, to get one of these books, do some homework, and check out the VIN numbers on it, because that's really what plays such a big role on making the value of these cars.
Order a bunch of parts to get ready for the car show this weekend?
And I got a hot deal, too.
You think? Think again.
Oh, man.
Tired of back orders? You need NPD. With 4 strategically located superstores, orders are shipped direct to your door within 1 to 3 business days. National Parts Depot has quality restoration parts for Ford truck, Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, and Firebird. For your free catalog, visit NPD online or call toll-free.
You know, a couple of my shows ago, I talked about hood adjustment and trunk adjustment on cars in general, and specifically Mustangs in those episodes there. And I thought I'd touch bases on doors. I get a lot of my emails and Facebook messages on how to adjust doors on Mustangs and classic cars. And it's actually not as bad as you might think. The idea behind adjusting a door on a Mustang is to make the line in the back straight and to make the door itself perpendicular with the rocker. So you have a relatively straight line going all the way around. It's not going to be perfect, but you can get as perfect as you can until the point you start cutting into body work. But there's quite a few adjustments on the older cars themselves. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's a Mustang, a Camaro, a Cuda, an AMC car. They had a lot of adjustments going on back then. You know, they didn't have the robotics of newer technology where things are just welded together and you got what you got, and it was just a single hole where that thing dropped into place. Older cars had adjustments to go back and forth, up and down, and in and out. And a door on an older classic car is no exception to that. And what you got is you got this hinge here. This is your upper door hinge here. And by loosening it in certain areas, you can get a lot of adjustment out of it. So say that the back end of this door was a little bit high or a little bit low. What you would do is you would loosen up these 3 bolts right here, and then you'll watch how the door will actually drop when I open it. So in other words, if this door was a little low in the back, you could loosen up those 2 or 3 bolts and then actually lift the hinge up, tighten it down, and now you've lifted the back of the door by adjusting that front hinge. The other adjustment it has on it is a fore and aft adjustment. So if you loosen up these two bolts that are inside here, where the hinge actually bolts to the door itself, you can have a fore and aft adjustment there to move the door in or move the door out in relationship to the fender itself. One thing that I've learned when you're making adjustments on whether it's doors, fenders, hoods, trunk lids, loosen one thing up at a time. I've had a lot of customers where they've loosened up all those bolts and they've tried adjusting it, and you end up losing it because it just becomes a hodgepodge of all these loose bolts. Start in one spot. The best way is to experiment. Loosen something up, make an adjustment, and see where that leads you to. If it leads you to something in the right direction, okay, continue with it. If it doesn't, go back to where you were and start with another adjustment. That's the easiest way to remember that. But there's a lot of adjustments on these doors. There's a lot of adjustments on these fenders. There's a lot of adjustments on these hoods. So keep an eye on a couple of upcoming episodes of my show, and I'll show you how to adjust even the convertible tops on these things. On this episode of Operation Mustangs and More, we're going to show you how to align doors on an old car. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a Mustang or a Toyota or a Camaro or whatever it is. I'm going to show you what the alignment process is all about. VIN numbers. You know, VIN numbers on an automobile are so important. They tell the value of it just by the little things that are inside that VIN itself. And it's also finally convertible top season, man. I've been waiting for this, and I'm going to go back around one more time. We're going to do this again. Well, thanks for watching this episode of Operation Mustangs and More. I'm having a lot of fun this year, man. The weather has been so great. This has been such a great winter and a great spring. We're finally getting some convertible top weather. Make sure you go to winthemustangs.com. You know, you can win a couple of Shelbys. It's for the wounded veterans, man. Go to winthemustangs.com. Check it out. You can enter to win a couple of Shelbys. Who doesn't like that? I'm all for this kind of stuff, man. My dad was a veteran of the big wars, he used to call it, World War II. Great guy. He's going to be 90 years old this year. I'm so proud of my dad. But until next time, make sure you check out my next episode of Operation Mustangs and More. Thanks for watching.